Hey guys, Becky here with Design Bundles, and I'm back with another fabulous sublimation project. And of course, what are we working with today? How about a reindeer pillowcase? Ta-da!
So the first thing we need to do, guys, is we need to set up the file for printing. So I came to Silhouette Studio. I love setting up my files here, but of course you can go to your favorite program of choice. And the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to go, well, I've imported my image. Okay. Now I did use the PDF version. Now this file in particular does come in an SVG format so that you can still technically do this with vinyl, which is really awesome, but I am going to do sublimation. But that's also really useful because it's really easy to change colors. All right. So just throwing that out there, but I'm going to go to File and I'm going to go to Print. And I always come the same way. I'm going to select my printer, go to Preferences, and I'm going to go ahead and select my document size. I'm going to select my paper type, which I use the Premium Presentation Paper Matte and Standard Quality. So then I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to choose Apply, and then I'll hit Cancel because I don't actually need that yet. But now when I go to show print border, you see how I have this gray line all the way around. Always very important to check that out. So I'm going to turn this on its side. So I'm going to come here to the transform panel. The third icon is rotate, and I will rotate 90 degrees. And then I have a couple options. I can type in my dimensions up here on the bar. I can type in my dimensions here under the scale menu, or I can do this freehand. Now I'm going to do it freehand, and I'll tell you why. This image, if you take a look at it, so for example, right now it says the image is 18.576, which is good. That means that it's accurate. But you have to be careful with some images because see how I'm going all the way? I'm actually going over. And if the designer of the image has saved the file that it has a border, even though it's transparent, sometimes the border is included in that sizing. So I just usually size it by hand for that reason. And I've talked about that in a couple videos. I'm not sure, if this is your first time here, welcome, but I do talk about that quite often because it's a mistake often found by beginners. So with that in mind, I have also sublimated on these pillow covers before and pillowcases, and I know that I need the design pretty much as large as I can get it. Now, I'm not going to add a name to this one, but if I did, I'm simply I would move my design down here to the bottom, and I would actually put the name across the top. So just something to keep in mind. You can use a really cool font. I got some really awesome ones in the, in the dollar sale that we just had over Black Friday. So really, really loved that. So don't forget, you can use your little eyedropper tool so I can grab that exact shade of red. I'm going to turn my line color to transparent, and then I can rotate this freehand, or don't forget, I could rotate with my transform panel. That's what we just did before, right? And I could put this here above the design. Okay, so if I wanted to, that's what I would do. I would select all of this, go back to my align menu, and I can align them so that they're even. All right, so completely up to you. But like I said, not today. Actually, I'm kidding. I am going to do this, and I will make these for my niece and nephew. Now, my nephew's 11, so he probably doesn't care too much, but my niece is 4, and she will absolutely love this to pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and print this one. So remember, I do need to mirror, so I'm going to mirror this since I've already turned it. I mean, this part doesn't matter, but I usually just go ahead and mirror it vertically. And then I will be able to send this to my printer to print out a copy. Now, of course, my daughter already has one. I made her one last year. And then my boys are teenagers, so blah, you know how that goes, right? And I'm going to choose a different font just because she is a girl. And I love that I can do girly things with her. There we go. That one's really cute. All right, so I'm going to recenter it because I've changed the text, right? There we go. And now I can print this one here and go grab those off of my printer. All right, so here we are. These are the pillowcases that I have. And what I wanted to tell you is that these are advertised as microfiber pillowcases. And some people may be thrown off by that. But if you look at the material, and I'm sorry that this tag is ripped, but I promise right there it says 100% polyester, okay? So I just wanted to point that out, that you can't use cotton. You don't want cotton pillow covers, pillowcases. And these are just standard queen size. Of course, they come in king size also. All right, but they seem large. They seem overwhelming, and they're really not. So we're just going to work with one at a time. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I want to locate my tag. I don't know if that matters to anybody else, but I like my tag to be at the bottom. Is that weird? I don't know. Maybe it is weird. So I'm going to smooth it down. I will go ahead and cover this with my butcher paper. I always like to cover with something anytime that I'm dealing with white. And remember, if you are sublimating on white fabric, then you want to use a lint roller also, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and iron this out with my Easy Press. Now you can either iron with an iron before you craft, or you can even press it in your heat press, but you do want to iron it out. That way you don't end up with any type of fold lines pressed into your design, okay? Now this butcher paper is still safe, and I'm going to take, this is my print. See, even with it printed as large as possible, it's still very underwhelming. I feel like these 13 by 9 pages are actually really, really good for this because when you think about where your pillow is gonna be and how much room it's gonna take up on the ends, then you can position it right about there. But we're not gonna position it yet. I'm gonna spray it with my spray. Now this is just an adhesive. This is just to help me keep it in place. When I'm using my Easy Press, I tend to use more adhesive than normal because I know that I'm gonna have to pick up my Easy Press and move it around. You know what, guys, I'm gonna go just a tad higher because try to imagine where their head is going to be. All right, there we go. Now I do have to remember, so you're going to see me, I will press this a total of 6 times. So I just tell you that so that you know what I have going on here. You're going to use a fair amount of pressure. In my opinion, this is not really a light pressure project. And if you have a large format heat press, then I would definitely use it versus the Easy Press because I don't care for the moving around, but you guys know I use them for the videos because I like being able to show you guys firsthand instead of like, hey, let's stick this over here, okay? All right. All right, guys, so let's find out how we did. Hey, not too bad, right? That's what I'm talking about. All right, so I just have one more to do, and then I will reconvene with you guys and show you the finished project. So, I think it turned out fabulous, and I just absolutely cannot wait to give this to my niece and nephew. So, you'll have to let me know what you think. Now, this file is available in the reindeer antlers in several styles, and is also available in an elf hat, guys, an elf hat. I just love it. I love it to pieces. So this is really fun. These pillowcases are inexpensive, and it is a very worthwhile project. Plus, if you're a business, I bet it would be a really good seller. So I'm going to wrap it up, guys, but I really appreciate you stopping by today. You know, I just always love it to hear from you guys. If you have any comments, video requests, anything like that, make sure you leave it below. Before you leave, make sure you give us a quick subscribe, turn on notifications so you get notified of all of our projects, right? And, you know, share with a friend. Crafty friends love it when you send them crafty things. So I really appreciate it again. And guys, I'll see you next time.